Okay, let's go. My family's famous banana pudding is what I'm gonna be doing today. I normally do this on holidays, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, but kids, they'll eat it anytime. We get some banana wafers. Actually, let's get your pot first so we can heat up your bananas. Your bananas. I'm bananas. You gotta heat up. So this is cook and serve. I use 3 boxes of the cook and serve Jello pudding, and it has to be vanilla. There are like bananas, but since you use bananas already for the pudding, you don't want banana pudding. Here's your wafers. When I used to make it, it would be okay in the beginning, but then I would use 1% milk since that's what we're drinking. My family, it was always whole milk, so I'm gonna use whole milk. And then I'm gonna put more wafers in it. I like the fact that the wafers gives it that consistency. And I got 6 bananas. Let's go ahead and heat up our pudding. So we gotta take our boxes of the pudding in a pot. There are puddings that is instant. I don't use instant because we put this in the refrigerator after we put it all together. And using cook and serve, you gotta cook it to the consistency of like actual pudding, but not like too thick. And then we pour the pudding over. Gotta empty all the boxes of pudding out. Pretty, I'm decorating it. All 3 boxes. 1 more to go. I think a lot of people use instant because this takes a long time to stand here because you have to stir it constantly. So there's no clumps. You don't want clumps of pudding. And since you're cooking it from cold to hot, you have to constantly stir. And it's better to also stand there stirring it by hand. I know some will be like, oh yeah, let's just use a whisk, but you have to feel the consistency by your hand. And it's usually 3 cups a box. So 3 cups of milk a box. And we do it where it's, I think about 8.5 to 8 cups. We minus the milk, so the consistency. You don't want too much milk because then it'll be thick quicker. You don't want it to get too thick. Here's my 1 cup. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 3 cups per packet, but we minus a little bit of the milk. We do 8 instead of the 9. And then we just sit here and stir. I will usually put on medium to high. And you feel that when you first start stirring how clumpy it is. You really don't want that clumpiness in there. My mama used to always say I was the best one at cooking this. Yeah. Just because nobody wanted to stand that long. This takes a while. You're starting it from cold and waiting until it, not like super, super hot, but. And right now it's like all runny. This is definitely what you don't want. So you gotta wait till it gets a little thicker. It's not too thick because it has to be like a running. When you pour it over the wafers and the bananas, it has to be a little runny because when you put it in the refrigerator, that's what thickens it, makes it into that pudding. I'm also recovering from surgery. I had carpal tunnel in my hand and my elbow. I'll get my stitches out tomorrow. This really does take a long time. And you really can't walk away. You also don't want no like burnt at the bottom either, because then that just throws off the whole flavor. There's nothing sticking. I wore my yellow shirt to match the theme of pudding. Of my banana. It really is not done yet. I guess it takes milk a minute to warm up. I don't know why people are so lazy when it comes to this. This is not that hard. I would have normally had all of my bananas already chopped up because sometimes you would want all of your bananas chopped up ahead of time. That way the pudding's not sitting too long because then it gets thicker. I'm gonna work as fast as I can so the pudding don't get too thick. I mean, it's okay. I've done it with it was a little thicker. It's just harder to pour over. And if it's too runny, the pudding with the bananas, it won't stick. It would just be all mush. Perfection. I've made this many years. It's been a long time. Have a banana pudding. I feel the bottom is starting to get hotter because I feel that it's starting to form. If you come in here and you can see that, you see the pudding, which it's starting to get warm. Not that long until the consistency is perfect. It's starting to get almost done. Take it over there and form some heaven. This is what it's like when you eat it. Okay, maybe I'm just being biased because it's mine. I also want to get this so I can chop up the wafers. I want to put a little bit of wafers, crushed wafers on the bottom. Do you see how thick it's getting? It's not as runny. I want to just do it a little bit longer. And this is the consistency you want. You see how it's kind of hard to, it's not as liquidy, but it's also not as thick. And take it over here. And you need like a cup of something, some sort to dip it and then lay it over. Take my wafers out. I'm gonna probably include my daughter in here. I need your help, please. Come over here and help Mom and cut these bananas. And when we cut the bananas, I do about, I can't really say, let me see. This is my daughter, Michelle. She's gonna help me cut my bananas.
Yep.
This is about the size of the bananas. I think they're about a 1/2 inch, because it's not an inch. So about a 1/2 inch. If you wanna cut these and put them in a bowl, so I can have them ready before the pudding sets and gets harder. I'm gonna have to crush up some of these wafers, just sprinkle on the bottom. Just do it right there real quick. And just cut them. Like I showed you, please. Real quick. Hey Michelle, how do you like Mom's banana pudding?
I love it.
You like it?
Yeah, I'll eat it anytime.
Not just for holidays. I'm gonna go ahead and grind up some of these wafers. And sprinkle this at the bottom of it. And then we just go over here, sorry. And then you lay the bananas like this after you. This is my first time actually doing the crushed wafers. I'll put bananas, then wafers and bananas. So it'll be bananas, wafers, pudding. Bananas, wafers, pudding. This is the first time I'm doing it with the crushed at the bottom. So I did crushed wafers, and then you lay the bananas like this.
See this cup?
This is gonna be a whole pan. Try to put as much as I can. Let's put it in a setting. All hands on deck. I made Michelle some bread in the toaster, and it's still there.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about it.
It's still there. I didn't butter it because I started doing this. Sorry.
How do you do it so fast?
I told you, this is years of doing this, honey.
I'm gonna try your way. It's my way. My way or the highway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just don't stab me, please.
Stab my own self. There we go.
Yeah, I got more, sweetheart. All them need done. I like to see your beautiful face anyways. Thank you for helping, mamas. And then another set of wafers is gonna go on top of the bananas before I put the pudding. And then some more wafers over the banana.
Cooking with love.
It's almost time for me to put my first layer of pudding on. How is it that anytime I buy bananas, they go rotten, but now when I need to use them, she decides to eat them?
Yeah.
All right, excuse me for a moment.
What is that?
This is pudding.
Oh.
And then you just layer it with the pudding. And you don't want to scrape the bottom because the bottom has a little burnt. Since it's set, there's like little foam stuff on top that you got to move out of the way, like the already hardened pudding. And now our second layer, I'll do the bananas now. I'm probably gonna need all the bananas because this is a big pan. You're gonna have to take over this recipe now, Michelle, because when you're on your own, sweetheart, and you want some banana pudding, and mama's not there. Hey mom, how you do this? Remember the pudding? How you make it? Like, Carl, you were there with me. Watch back the video. So apparently we don't have for another layer of bananas. So this would be possibly, and there you have it, my daughter. She's in and she's out. And this is easy. You don't really have to cook anything. I mean, the only thing you got to cook is the pudding. But then once this is done, you put it in the refrigerator. I would give it about 4 to 6 hours for it to actually fully set. We usually make it, like when we make it on holidays, we make it the night before it's supposed to be eaten. And then once it's all set and done, I will take it out and cut it so you guys can see how it looks before we eat this yummy, delicious pan of heaven, because it's gonna be gone in like 2, possibly a day and a half. Not even, I don't know. Yeah, see, it's starting to set. See the clumps? That's what you don't want when it's cooking. Now you can just tell that it's actually starting to form. We usually always eat this cold, so that's why we put it in the refrigerator so it get fully cold before we dig into it. And I actually don't have no pudding left, which was pretty good. I always have pudding left over and I gotta discard it, or save it and we'll just eat the pudding. So I actually made just enough. I think it's just because of this pan. Don't normally make this big of a pan for the 4 of us, but there you have it. Gotta wait till it gets, I'm gonna put more crushed wafers on top. Guess I could just crush them by hand. Even if you got little big pieces in there, that's okay. This is also something different that I never did, was crushed actual wafers on top. But this, see the layers? Yeah, see, wiggly, 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 jiggle, 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 jiggle. We don't have saran wrap. Dun, dun, dun. 4 to 6 hours about to be cold enough. Now, time to clean up my mess. See, this is a kitchen cooking with love. And then I had Michelle in here too helping me. Now that's a kitchen with love. Here, eat some bananas. You don't want no bananas? And that's my son Thomas. Say hi. All right. Thanks for watching my famous banana pudding. I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.